Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking a
categorically,
question. Don't
Mr.
be
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can
No,
you
I'm
give
not
us a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir. Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Jando. Welcome back to Dave versus the MSN. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. We are available 24/7 at davejanda.com. As we've outlined to you, this platform is being highly censored and suppressed. Not sure how long our YouTube channel is going to be around, as we've discussed in our previous videos, based on the attacks that we have been taking. This is why, if you want to be in touch with our content, which I believe is top drawer. Obviously, I'm biased. But our content has repeatedly put you months, if not years, ahead of the globalist constructed curve that ends in a brick wall with the shattering of your freedoms, your liberties, your future, your life, and our constitutional republic. We have a tremendous amount of free information at davejanda.com, but where the real meat of the matter is for a mere 30 cents a day on our subscription content, $9 a month. Single greatest bang for the buck in all the internet. Our subscribers have told me en masse that the content that we present on the subscription side has saved their lives, their families' lives. That's not hyperbole. It's in fact true. Our goal is to help as many people as possible. We do so at a price that breaks even for us so that we can pay for our hosting costs, our IT personnel costs, and the other costs it takes to run a website, which is very expensive. We hope you become part of our freedom family. The title of today's presentation is A Tale of Two Versions of the Rule of Law. When I first started speaking about the two-tiered system of the rule of law in our country and around the world, people accused me of being a conspiracy theorist, that I was paranoid. No. It might have been conspiracy, but it was conspiracy reality based on fact. I continually speak about the key is to educate as many people as possible with what's happening behind the curtain. That's what we do at davejanda.com. That's what I do with my radio show. That's what I do with, at least superficially, in my video presentations, because if I go too far, those videos on every platform are suppressed. View counts are suppressed. Notifications are suppressed. It's all suppressed. Which is why that davejanda.com is so important, because there's no suppression, there's no censorship. I speak about the key is educating as many people as possible and thereby empowering as many people as possible. And in so doing, we end, as I've said thousands of times, we end this reign of terror which has been implemented by the deep state, the New World Order crowd, the globalist syndicate, the globalist cult, the whatever you want to call it. They're all the same entity. Freedom stripping, evil operation. That reign of terror comment is actually based on what happened in the French Revolution in 1789, that reign of terror. There is a book entitled A Tale of Two Cities, written by Charles Dickens. It was written in 1859. And it's about the reign of terror which led to the French Revolution. Well, this video is not a tale of two cities. It's about a tale of two versions of the rule of law. Let's start with the chief law enforcement agency in the United States, the FBI. There are many people that will say, well, the FBI is just a few at the very top that have compromised the entire agency. I don't believe that's accurate. I believe the culture has become rancid and has been rancid at the FBI, possibly even since its inception, but it is morphed to be universal. There are whistleblowers. Reportedly, there's about 500 whistleblowers within the FBI at this point. And I've always told you the key to undoing this reign of terror by the cult is whistleblowers stepping forward. And that's been happening. And reportedly, the current director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, a globalist, who was appointed by, Donald Trump. Christopher Wray, as I understand it from some sources outside of the FBI, but with contact into the FBI, has become, I guess, paranoid is a word, desperate, panicked are three words that have been described of Christopher Wray. Because, why is that? Because his agency and his leadership of that, what has become a rancid organization that is not the law enforcement entity that still some people in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor believe exists, has been shown to be, in fact, a lawless organization that is focused on destruction of the rule of law and creation of a two-tiered rule of law, one which the cult is never held accountable, and one in which those in the freedom movement are beyond suppressed. They're targeted. Single most effective way of adversely affecting your opponent is through ridicule. It's actually a page out of Saul Alinsky's playbook, Rules for Radicals. We can use their playbook against the cult. And one of Alinsky's most favorite and, in fact, effective means of marginalizing an opponent is ridicule. Someone who's very good at it, and I try to be good at it, and someone who is very good at it, Emerald Robinson, former White House correspondent, recently said this about the FBI. The FBI probably put the Nashville assailants' manifesto in the same safe as the Epstein client list, Hunter Biden's laptop, Ashley Biden's diary, Huma Abedin's laptop, Seth Rich's laptop, Obama's school records, and Hillary Clinton's server. As she points out, the lack of the rule of law, or this two-tiered rule of law, is significantly based on the cover-up. Many people outside that window in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor who had criticized me over the years for my exposure of the FBI becoming not a law enforcement agency, but actually an intelligence gathering service. We know that through their work and their involvement, whether it was Comey or Mueller, along with Obama and Biden, with their illegal surveillance program that we've highlighted on this platform. General McInerney came forward in March 19th, 2017, bringing information forward on the hammer. It's just bound to be, in fact, true, of illegal surveillance, of political opponents, and of millions of Americans. We were targeted for presenting that information, 100% accurate, which is why we were targeted. We know it was accurate because Strzok and Page and the FBI were actually speaking about the interview we did in March 19, 2017. The next morning, just beyond the next morning, it was within 5 minutes of us concluding the interview that night, that live interview on the radio, because that was the first time that information had been brought forward on TV or radio. They were talking about in their text email messages that the Department of Justice, the Inspector General, had released. Oh, no. They've been involved in nefarious activities, unfortunately, for many, many years. We knew that they were integral in the Russian collusion hoax. But what woke up a lot of people outside that window is when the FBI targeted parents that were going to their own kids' school boards and asking questions about the curriculum being used, and those parents were targeted. That's not a legitimate law enforcement agency. It's actually more indicative of the SS, the Gestapo. Right? And then we had this. FBI sent undercover agents into Catholic churches to investigate domestic extremism. This from the Post-Millennial. This outreach plan even included contacting so-called mainline Catholic parishes and the local diocesan leadership. The Weaponization of Government Committee through Congress has discovered that the FBI sent agents into Catholic churches to investigate those parishes for domestic extremism. Well, if the chief law enforcement agency is doing this, what does that say about the rule of law? And then we just have to look at the judicial system and what that has become, right? Love or hate Trump. Even people out here have said to me, you know, what this Bragg guy is doing in New York, I mean, the statute of limitations has run out. Their lead witness, this Cohen character who's in jail for fraud and extortion, or his own attorneys say that he didn't get money from Trump or Trump's organization. This is nuts. No, it is a tale of two versions of the rule of law. And it's based, just as it was with the Tale of Two Cities, on a reign of terror by a globalist cult. Victor Davis Hanson, a political analyst, very gifted, recently wrote an article that I want to share with you. Victor Davis Hanson, indict one, indict all. Were the opposition to match tit for tat these Democrat means, and it's really globalist means, I disagree with him there, then the Republic would not survive. What crime did Trump not do that others did with either impunity or without being arrested? Here is a sample of 20. 1. Trump did not violate federal law as Hillary Clinton did by destroying federally subpoenaed emails and devices in order to hide evidence. Again, an indication of the two-tiered version of the rule of law. 2. Trump did not violate federal law as Hillary Clinton did by sending classified government communications on her own through an unsecured home-brewed server. 3. Trump did not violate federal laws as did Hillary Clinton by hiring, through 3 paywalls, a foreign national who was prohibited from working on presidential campaigns to compile a dossier to smear her presidential opponent. That would be one Christopher Steele. 4. Trump did not violate federal campaign laws as did Hillary Clinton by hiding her payments as legal services to Christopher Steele through bookkeeping deceptions. She was fined by the Federal Elections Committee. Now, why wasn't she indicted? Two-tiered rule of law. Because she was part of the cult. Remember, I play this clip very often on my radio show. George Carlin, it's a big club. Yeah, and we're not in it. Well, yeah, that's true. Absolutely, we're not in it. But then they take another kind of big club and try to pummel us with their coercive totalitarian rule of law. And for them, they have a vapor club that never quite does anything. Victor Davis Hanson goes on. 5. Trump did not, as did Bill Clinton, use a crony to search out a high-paying New York job for a paramour in order to influence her testimony before a special counsel. Would that be, what was her name? Jennifer Flowers? Remember her? Yeah. Or maybe it was, how about Monica Lewinsky? Did he try to, hey, we'll make life a little better for you, Monica, just hide that blue dress with the stain on it. 6, Trump did not, as did Bill Clinton, receive a $500,000 honorarium for speaking in Moscow while his wife, Hillary, the Secretary of State at the time, approved a long-standing and lucrative desire of the Kremlin for North American uranium to be sold to a Russian consortium. Number 7, Trump did not, as did Barack Obama, promise Vladimir Putin that he would be, quote, flexible, end quote, on, quote, missile defense, end quote, if during his own re-election bid, Putin in return would give him, quote, space, end quote. That quid pro quo arrangement led to the U.S. abandonment of key joint missile defense systems with Poland and the Czech Republic, and reciprocally, less than 2 years later, a Russian invasion, mostly unopposed by the United States, of eastern Ukraine and the Crimea. 8. Trump did not boast publicly, as did Joe Biden, that he used U.S. foreign aid monies, taxpayer monies, as leverage to have the Ukrainian government fire a prosecutor who may have been looking into the Biden family's efforts to sell influence to corrupt Ukrainian officials. Two-tiered rule of law. 9. Trump did not, as the Bidens did, set up a family consortium to leverage monies from Russia, Ukraine, and China, just to name a few, on their shared expectations that he might soon run for and be elected president and become compromised. Trump is not mentioned, as is Joe Biden, in family business communications as a recipient of a 10% commission on such payoffs. Number 10. Trump did not, unlike Joe Biden, remove presidential papers without any authority to declassify them. Remember, Trump as president could declassify. Biden, as vice president, could not. And leave them scattered and unsecured in a garage in various residences and offices. Number 11. Trump did not, as did the FBI, wipe clean subpoenaed mobile phone records. Number 12. Trump did not, as did interim FBI head Andrew McCabe, admittedly lie under oath on 4 occasions to federal investigators. Number 13. Trump did not, as did former CIA Director John Brennan under Obama, admittedly lie on 2 occasions while under oath to the U.S. Congress. Number 14. Trump did not, as did Director of National Intelligence under Obama, James Clapper, admittedly lie on 1 occasion to the U.S. Congress. Number 15. Trump did not, as did James Comey, that would be the FBI director installed under Obama, right? And then remember, Trump kept him around for a while. Claim amnesia or ignorance 245 times while under oath before the United States Congress. Number 16, Trump did not, as did FBI Director James Comey, summarize a confidential private conversation with a president and then deliberately leak that classified memo to the media for his own agenda of appointing a special counsel to investigate the president, which turned out to be his buddy, Robert Mueller. Number 17, Trump did not, as did Robert Mueller, claim ignorance while under oath when asked about the Steele dossier and Fusion GPS, the catalyst for Mueller's own investigation. Number 18. Trump did not, as did private citizen and former Secretary of State John Kerry, meet clandestinely while out of office with Iranian officials to help them resist current U.S. policy toward Iran, or what the Boston Globe characterized as, quote, unusual shadow diplomacy to apply pressure on the Trump administration from the outside, end quote. Number 19, Trump did not, as did the FBI and CIA, pay clandestine money to Twitter to monitor and smother news stories deemed unhelpful to their agendas, and by the way, get rid of, suspend people like me in the independent media. I was taken off Twitter January 8th, and still remain off Twitter, January 8th, 2021, for saying, well, I got to be careful, is the freedom stripping that adversely affected the 2020 voting. Now, recently, Peter McCullough put a poll up on Twitter. Should Dr. Dave Janda be brought back to Twitter? Thousands of people voted, and 99.4% of people said, bring back Dr. Dave. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn also tweeted out to Musk, this is a no-brainer. Nothing has happened. Nothing. I've petitioned Twitter at least 6 times about reinstatement, saying, what did I do? And by the way, come on. They've never responded. Number 20. Trump did not, as did then Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, whip up a mob at the doors of the Supreme Court by threatening 2 sitting justices by name to intimidate them concerning an impending judicial ruling. Quote, I want to tell you, this is Schumer, I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you, end quote. In subsequent months, mobs of protesters swarmed the private homes of these 2 named justices to influence their decisions, a federal crime that was ignored by Attorney General Merrick Garland, but not by self-confessed potential person of interest who then threatened Brett Kavanaugh, who turned up in his neighborhood. Kunstler concludes, what are we to make of these radical, disparate applications of laws and protocols? Here's what we're to make of it. There is a 2-tiered rule of law in this country, and has been for many years, and has just come to the forefront. What do we do? Here's what we do. We expose it. We tell the truth, honestly, peacefully, and we keep harping on the truth and exposing the dichotomy. When you contact your congressman and senator and your state congressman and senator and your local political representatives and say, look, send them this video. We got a 2-tier rule of law. What are you doing about it? Because if you don't do anything about it, we're going to have somebody run against you in the primary and we're going to remove you from your big, fat, cushy leather chair. People say, oh, that won't make a difference. Oh, it does. When they hear enough from people, they can only rig things so much. When they think the public is wise to something and they're on the wrong end of it, they are shape-shifting chameleons. Okay? And they all of a sudden start to do something different if they think they're on the wrong side of it because they can only rig things so much. The tale of not 2 cities, but the tale of 2 versions of the rule of law exists. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people you know are unaware of that. Share this information with them. Tell them to get off their couch and start demanding that the rule of law become fair and equal for every person in our country and the world. I thank you for joining me today. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. We are available 24/7 at davejanda.com. Extra shows, extra content, extra guests, extra analysis, archives to all of our shows. 30 cents a day for priceless information. Try it for a month, $9. I assure you, it will put you months, if not years, ahead of the curve. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.